an important topic that we actually haven't talked about, and it doesn't really apply to everybody, but it should be brought up, it should be mentioned, because there are those who will need this type of information. And it is for those people that actually own or care for or work in museums where there are Tibetan and Himalayan paintings, Paubas, Patas, and Thangkas. Now, the name of the book is Care and Handling of Thangkas, A Guide for Caretakers, and it was done by Victoria Blyth Hill and translated into Tibetan by Lama Sonam Phuntsho. Now, this publication was done by the Khyentse Foundation, and I believe it first came out in 2007. Now, as far as I know, there's only a hard copy. If anybody knows of a PDF, then please let us know here at Himalayan Art Resources. But this book is really quite excellent, and again, with full disclosure, yes, I do know Victoria Blyth Hill. I did know her. She's passed on now. But I've actually worked with her in the field, doing surveys of painting and sculpture collections, and we've spent a lot of time talking about the proper care and handling and modern methods, traditional methods, etc. Now, as to the actual text, it's not a very thick text. It's really a manual. It's a manual for caretakers, and it's full of. It's got some images in it. It's got drawings. It has information other than textual. But anyway, so the foreword is by Dzongso Gyalmyen Khyentse Rinpoche. Then there's an introduction, and it's just a general introduction by Victoria. And then she goes into chapter 2, or section 2, is vulnerabilities for paintings: water, light, pollution, insects, vermin, and mold. And then, of course, a very important one in the Himalayas and also in China is fire in temples. Then the third section is handling Thangkas, preparation, labeling the Thangka, rolling the Thangka. The fourth is emergency response. Now, emergency response here means when you just suddenly discover that a painting has got wet overnight. What do you do immediately? Water, mold, fire. These are usually situations where you have to have an emergency response. It's an immediate event. Then we have written documentation. So that's section 5. You have identification, description, condition, priority. Priority here means priority for conservation or special care. Then we have section 6, which is resources and alternatives. And this is going into very technical information, primarily for the main caregivers who are also trained as conservationists, either textile or paper or painting. Then this section is really for you. If you're not trained in these things, then you can't easily pick them up and be successful. So that's the last section. Then there's further reading. Then Appendix A is the diagram of a painting showing you all the different components and parts that make up a typical Tibetan painting, which is similar for the Nepalese Pata, Indian Pauba, and whatnot. Then the Appendix B is actually a simple Thangka examination and condition form, and this is one that Victoria had worked on for years to come up with something simple. This is when she worked at the conservation lab. She actually ran the conservation lab at the Los Angeles County Museum for years. And then the last two parts of the publication are a thorough glossary. Really quite good. The only one that's dealing really with taking care of paintings and conservation, and then acknowledgments. So this is a great book if you can find it. Now, I do not believe that it was sold. I believe that this was made in 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, and they were, and it's in English and Tibetan. English in the front, Tibetan in the rear, and they were given away for free. So it's a question of if you can find one, or if you can find a PDF version of this very, very important text for actual people who are involved in the maintaining, the storing, and the just the caregiving for Tibetan and Himalayan paintings. So we'll leave it there. You can press like, you can subscribe, you can join Har on Patreon, and you can also make a donation on the homepage of Himalayan Art Resources.